Pauline Hanson was 41 when she first got into politics, starting in local government before being elected to the Senate, where her first speech caused a sensation, attacking mass immigration. Wow, did she cop it? She's since, of course, been called a racist. She's been smeared, abused, even jailed on false charges, would you believe? Recently punished, too, for how she criticised the Greens senator in what I think was a terrible court judgment. So imagine my surprise to hear today that her daughter Lee, in the middle here when she was young, has decided now to also go into politics, and at the very same age as when her mother did. Lee Hanson is a human resources expert, now running for the Senate as a One Nation candidate in Tasmania after a career at the University of Tasmania and Hydro Tasmania. Lee and her mother Pauline join me now. Welcome to you both. But Lee, I have to say, you've got to tell me this. After everything that was done to your mother, and I've chronicled a lot over the years, the abuse, the jail on bogus charges, why would you decide you want to go into politics too?
I know, good question, right? Mum has actually been asking me for at least 10 years, and the answer is no. Nope, nope. Not an option, not me. Why would I? Seeing what you've been through, you got rocks in your head, not my pathway. But I suppose reaching, as you said, I'm 41 years of age now. I've had more life experience. I've got 2 kids, Tassie-born children, living here in Tassie. And in the 13 years I've been living in Tasmania, I have seen how much change within our community during that time that I feel I don't have a choice anymore. I need to stand up. I need to do this for my children and our children's future, because I don't see a successful future for them, and it has me greatly concerned. So here I am. Give it a go.
Well, I can understand your frustration, because it scares the whatever out of me to see what's happening to this country. But Pauline, does it worry you? I've seen you almost destroyed. I've seen you in tears a few times. I've been horrified by what's been done to you. Does it worry you that people, journalists, judges are going to do to your daughter what they have done to you?
I don't think it'll be the same to the same extent as what I've been through, Andrew. Lee is a very strong, tenacious woman. Free-thinking, independent, and these are the type of people that we know on the floor of Parliament. She wouldn't hold the position of being number 1 on the Senate ticket in Tasmania if I didn't think she had the capabilities of doing that job. And if we're going to pull this country out of the mess that we're in, we need strong people there. I'm proud of her, and yes, she's going to get her knocks. We've had those few comments already, and I disregard them. And we have to stand strong with this and just move forward and try and make change and have a voice for the people in Tasmania, not only as Tasmania, but across the country, who feel they're not being listened to. And it's only through putting up different ideas and opinions and debating the issues can we find a pathway for the future generations.
Lee, tell us a little bit about your background and what kind of politician that would make you.
I'm certainly not a career politician, Andrew. So I have worked in a range of industries: hospitality, tourism, real estate, before I moved to Tasmania. And since I've been here, I've been very fortunate to work my way up into a number of senior leadership roles within the Higher Education, Water and Sewerage Corporation, as well as recently Hydro. So I've worked within complicated bureaucratic systems. I have a background in HR, but I soon quickly became, even though I thought I'd spend my time in HR, became recognised as the fix-it person. I had the capability of really trying to understand and get to the root causes or what's the problems and what's the issues, and work collaboratively with other people to develop long-term solutions, innovation, strategy, everything from how do we make our business more financially viable, or just get rid of the red tape. As simple as that. How do we run more effective systems? So each of those businesses in Tasmania are large organisations on the ground, real jobs, working with real people here in Tasmania, and that's the difference I offer. You know, I've recently learnt that about 84%, if I understand correctly, of our politicians are career politicians. They haven't worked in real jobs, and that's the difference I offer here from Tasmania.
Yeah, well, Hydro Tasmania is an excellent organisation. I believe its chairman is a superb individual. The fact that it's my brother has got nothing to do with it. What makes you different from your mother?
A lot.
Here we go.
But not a lot. And I know that sounds contradictory. Look, you know, Mum's a single mother. We were brought up old traditional family values. It was hard yards growing up and seeing what Mum went through, to your point. But at the same token, as a young woman being raised by a strong, independent, tenacious, the most resilient woman you could possibly have in this country, it has taught me to be exactly that. You know, I've learnt from the best in regards to when to speak up, when do you need to have a voice, when do you see people around you that don't have the confidence or feel they can speak up, and you need to be the voice for them. So I have a lot of similarities like my mother, which I'm thankful that she's taught me, and I'm proud of her for that, and I honour that. But at the same token, I'm very different to my mother. You know, we have a joke and a laugh that I'm, you know, far more diplomatic than my mother. I'm not as polarising as my mother. I'm probably a little bit softer in my delivery than my mother, but I've still got the passion and drive that my mother has, the fight in me. So a lot of similarities, but yes, certainly some differences too.
But it puts you in a bit of a position, Pauline. You are the leader of the party. Your daughter is a hopeful politician in your party. What if she decides to go her own way politically on some issue? Who has the final say? Who's boss, mum or daughter?
No, it's a team effort. As I say to all my elected members of Parliament, you must represent your constituency. And I don't tell my elected members in WA, South Australia or Victoria how they should vote on issues. You have to represent your state. And Lee will have that opportunity as well to decide what is best for Tasmania. We are a team effort, and I don't put people up to be candidates for One Nation if we're not like-minded in our views. You can't agree on everything, but we sit down and talk about it. And before we deal with legislation in Parliament, we have a meeting with our advisors and Senator Roberts and previously with the other senators, and we discuss the legislation. We have our say about that. Then we come to a, conclusive agreement on how we're going to deal with that piece of legislation, how we're going to vote with it. So everyone has their say.
Pauline, just in case people were thinking I was being offhand about my brother, I'm actually as proud as Punch with his career. I mean, it's just terrific. We don't see eye to eye politically, obviously, on things necessarily, but he's a great guy. How proud are you of your daughter doing this?
You have no idea. I don't think people will understand, They have been through a hell of a lot, and I've been a single mother since 1987, and Lee was, 4 at that time, born in 83. So, they've had to do it tough. They've seen me go through prison, and, they've had to stand on their own 2 feet because I couldn't always be there for them. And I think because they've had to take on responsibilities that other children didn't have to do, taught them that resilience to be independent and stand on their own 2 feet, and that's why I'm proud of them. I'm very proud of her, and to stand beside her on the floor of Parliament, it's wonderful. And I remember my mother saying to me when she saw me sworn in Parliament, she said, darling, she said, if I was younger, she said, I'd be right there beside you. So I knew how my mother felt about being with me, and that's how I feel about my daughter. And I think she's got all the qualifications, all the capabilities of making a great representative for the state of Tasmania.
Lee, I was going to wrap up there, but I just want to ask you something, because I think what was done to Pauline with that jailing, I mean, it was later overturned, I know that, but it was so wrong at the time. You were you were quite young then. Your mother gets hauled off to jail. How did you feel at the time?
Oh, it was horrifying. I remember I was on a holiday in New Zealand at the time, and the court case, no one expected the outcome. At the time, Mum said, go on your holiday, all's fine. And next minute I get a call. So yes, it was devastating. It was unfathomable. I couldn't understand. And not just the decision, but to see someone, your parent that you love and respect and admire and adore, who's always been there for you, to suddenly be in the worst time of their life, at the most rock bottom stage, you know, what she had to physically and mentally go through. Yeah, I was, not just the impact on me, but seeing the physical and emotional impact on my mother, not just during the time, but, you know, the recovery through that as well. But it also, for someone to come through that and how they came out the other end of that, taught me a hell of a lot too. So yeah, it was hard, but it was a lesson itself as well about strength.
Well, Pauline,
We all have our ups
say
and
the best
downs in our
revenge
lives.
is living well.
Andrew and I'm not the only one.
Yes.
Yep.
No, that's true. The best revenge is living well, they say, but I think an even better revenge is that you stand still in Parliament and may have your daughter beside you. That would be icing on the cake. Lee and Pauline Hanson, thank you very much to you both.